Ghosts and goblins are out this time of year, but there are no ghosts haunting our top seed Michelle Feldman. She won her second title of the year last week and looks to win her first major tonight in the finals of the Hammer Players Championship. PWBA, the Cherry Bowl in Rockford, Illinois, for the finals of the Hammer Players Championship. Hello everyone, I'm Jan Schmidt. Thanks for joining us for the PWBA's longest running event. For 28 years, bowling's finest has been making their mark here in Rockford, Illinois. For the past 3 of those years, it's been the new kids on the block that have risen to the challenge. Only one newcomer will have an opportunity tonight against 4 athletes who have a combined 47 years of tour experience. Let's meet them. Qualifying 5th in her 216th consecutive event, Iron Woman Tish Johnson. In the number 4 position, top contender for Rookie of the Year, Kulick. Qualifying 3rd, the mainstay of this program in 2001, Carolyn Dorin Ballard. In the number 2 position, looking for her 4th title of the year, Liz Johnson. And in the enviable top spot for the 2nd consecutive week, Michelle Feldman. Working with me tonight, the lady who finished 11th this week, Kathy Doran Lizzie. And Kathy, it seems like all season long we've been saying Carolyn Doran Ballard broke yet another record, actually tied a record. Tonight we get to say she broke one.
Carolyn is the tie queen of the PWBA Tour, joining groups by winning 3 consecutive titles, making 6 consecutive TV appearances, and making the show tonight, breaking last week's record for the most TV appearances in 1 year with 16. Jan, this lady still has 3 tournaments to bowl.
Well, definitely her best year so far. Our number 2 seed, Liz Johnson, is also having her finest season despite a pretty serious back injury.
Well, Liz Johnson has had a great career in her short period of time out here. She's made 6 TV appearances. She's won 3 titles in 1 year previously. This is by far her best year ever out on tour. Tonight is her 8th TV appearance, and she's looking for title number 4. In spite of that back injury, not bowling next week's event takes a lot of guts and a lot of pain.
Well, 2 ladies having great seasons. Our top seed, Michelle Feldman, admittedly was not having her best season, at least until last week when she won. Now, that may have changed things for her, and she told us afterward a little bit about how she felt on that win.
It feels wonderful. I haven't made a show in 3 months, and after coming off a year I had last year, making a show this week and winning, it meant a lot to me, and hopefully I can conquer the sports condition next week, too. I don't foresee you having a problem.
Well, she certainly didn't. You called that right on the head. What secret did you know?
Well, I watch these ladies bowl every week. I share the same ups and downs. In the beginning of the week, Michelle Feldman was simply on fire, shooting unbelievable scores. During the week, the other ladies started to bowl a little better, and it got Michelle a little nervous. Years ago, that nervousness would have destroyed her confidence. But after winning last week, I see a renewed mental toughness and maturity out of tonight's tournament leader.
Well, once again, she'll sit in the wings and wait, hoping for the same outcome. We're ready for that first match. It'll be Carolyn Doran Ballard, Kulick, and Tish Johnson. Handshakes around, and we're ready to start the Hammer Players Championship. It's a major event for us. Carolyn Doran Ballard will start. 37 years old, and 12 of those years on tour come from Carolyn Doran Ballard.
And to think she started the year with just 10 titles.
That's right where I was going. 16 titles and 6 of them this year already.
That's the one stat we have to keep upping, 1 every week. Great opening shot.
Kulick, she's actually in her rookie year. She's the one hope for the new kids on the block this year at the Hammer Players Championship. Just 24 years old. Leaving a 10 pin there, and I'll let you know quickly, I saw 2 years on tour there. It's her first full-time year, and she does qualify for rookie status because she hasn't bowled 4 events prior to this year. Tish Johnson quickly up on the approach, and disaster in her opening shot. She was playing to the crowd before we started this event, maybe played a little too much, but that's her personality.
Absolutely, that's the way she relaxes.
Maybe relaxed too much.
Easy spare. Oh my God, I spoke too soon.
Kathy, wow. There were quite a few missed spares this week, single pin spares, and has been a little bit on that score condition. Tish doesn't pick up the spare, so a 9 count.
Well, and every week we bowl on a different surface, and that is going to determine how you shoot your spares. Normally you can statistically keep lining up the way you always have with your A game on your spares, but the surface will always dictate minor adjustments.
Well, the spare ball is even hooking a little bit on this condition. Carolyn Dorin Ballard playing an extreme outside line. Kelly Kulick was very hopeful that she would actually have a good line to the pocket because no one would be playing in her area of the lane. So she was confident about that coming out of last night.
She sure was.
And not looking good so far for Kelly Kulick, the rookie. Tish Johnson just hung on to make this telecast, made it by just 3 pins. She had a rough day yesterday on the lanes.
Right through the head pin, right on the face of the head pin, leaves the big 4. It is makeable, but you just want to go for the pins, which is a smart move.
Especially this early in the match, she definitely needs to take the wood. Tish Johnson now looking for her first mark of the game. She had a 213 average to qualify. Well, the PWBA is coming to an end, and we head to Nevada for the final stops. First off is the Brunswick Women's World Open, followed by the Brunswick Shootout November 4th through the 10th at the Suncoast Bowling Center in Las Vegas. We then take a couple of weeks off and head to the richest tournament of the year, the 2001 Women's U.S. Open Bowling Championship, presented by Don Laughlin's Riverside Resort in Laughlin, Nevada. The tournament runs Friday, November 30th through Sunday, December 9th. Make sure you come out to those. And there's a look at the competition points for the Brunswick Women's World Open. You can see how close it is. The top 8 make it. You can see what some of them earned this week so far. The ladies with no points this week, they're in the telecast. They can earn anywhere from 625 points to 1,000 points for a victory this week. It'll tighten things up quite a bit. Unfortunately for Kendra Gaines, she broke her foot 2 weeks ago. She was in the top 8 and obviously now has fallen out and will not be able to get back into the top 8. Carolyn Dorin Ballard working on the first 2. Once again, a $50,000 bonus on the line if someone shoots a 300 on the television show tonight.
Come on. Hit it. Oh, we almost saw that. The common leave of Carolyn Dorin Ballard, the 7-10.
Yeah.
She normally doesn't leave it this early.
No, it's way too early in the match. Kelly Kulick, one of the things she was very excited about was her ball speed this week. She said it was good. She was down at the line, good ball speed. She just doesn't look comfortable right now, Kathy. I crossed with her this week, and she was so aggressive and so confident all week.
And that's a shame, too, because last night she told us she was just sparking in match play. Everything felt great. Her ball, her timing. She rode the intensity level all the way to get herself to the show. And she just, like you said, she just looks a little uncomfortable right now, but what a beautiful game on this young lady.
Maybe a little jitters, obviously, as we said, her rookie year, but it is her 6th show this year, breaking her goal. Her goal was 5 shows this year, and she's broken that, but wanted 2 wins, obviously short of that with no wins yet.
And it is a major.
Tish Johnson in the 3rd frame, working on a spare. Weebles wobble, but they did not fall down. 5-9 still standing. You can see she looks confused, Kathy.
Well, she bowled great on Sunday. She came in Tuesday morning even and shot 240 over. She really struggled, though, on Wednesday. I'm sorry, on Tuesday. She came in and she found the lanes to be a little tighter, which is what I see now. And she needs to just adjust a little bit.
Well, she spares it up, and Carolyn Dorin Ballard jumps off to a quick lead at the Cherry Bowl. We'll be right back with more. While we were away, Carolyn Dorin Ballard with a terrible shot in the 4th, 2-4-8-10. Tish Johnson barely hit the head pin for a 3-7-9 split in the 6th, and Kelly Kulick was definitely bitten by the 7-10 bug. This was in the 5th frame. In the pocket. 7-10 split, bitten not once but twice again in the 6th frame. Same thing, and Kelly Kulick followed that up by coming up high, leaving a 4-10. So Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard now in the lead by 21 pins. Kathy, Dorin, Lizzie, I know you can relate to that. I understand you left a 7-10, not back-to-back, but on the same lane twice in a row.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it was against Tish. So they were everywhere. Carry was very difficult. Your angle of entry to the pocket was very crucial. Your ball speed was very crucial. But 9 spare was a great frame because the lanes, the transition was a little tough for Carry. And a lot of 7-10s. Tish Johnson said she left 14 of them in match play. That's a lot.
Yeah, and like the last 16 games.
But then you see the pin action here. Her ball came up just a little light, but there are times where you blow them around and you get the tap.
And again, that was Carolyn's shot. You could see the 7-10 was up for a minute. Kelly Kulick now, she really has to regroup. Leaving a 10-pin, you know, she's made some good shots. She had a low game this week of 126, that being Kelly Kulick, but it had to look something like this. You know, the pocket 7-10s all over the place.
Oh, it had to be, but she regrouped her focus, she said, and came back and shot 268 the next game, which is phenomenal on this type of condition.
Pretty impressive. She had said she also changed balls to a ball that felt better. Kelly now trying to convert the 10-pin. Remember, she missed one already. She covers it up. Now Tish Johnson has been inducted, or will be inducted, in the WIBC Hall of Fame. Here's what she had to say about it.
It feels absolutely wonderful. I thought I wasn't going to get in until after I retired. So when I got the news 2 weeks ago, I was really ecstatic. I wish it was closer to home, so it'd be easier to get everybody there, but my mom already booked her flight, and we're ready to go.
So Tish, our second PWBA member this year that will be inducted and next year into the WIBC Hall of Fame. You saw Cheryl Daniels a couple of weeks ago on the show talking about it. Those will be the two in the performance category.
And very well deserved.
Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard now leading by 41 pins in the 9th frame, and she is lined up and striking.
She has a great shot, but she also told us that she played in the first day, saw what a great shot Liz Johnson had playing way out, and readjusted her lines. And she said from then on, she had a great reaction.
So it's interesting to see that the ladies sometimes will go and look at what another athlete is doing and how they're playing the lanes and move accordingly.
Absolutely, and you'd be a fool not to. Believe me, somebody's watching you from behind when you don't know it to see where you're playing.
So Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard will move on. But first, when we come back, I'll talk with a very special guest. Final score of match one, Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard 233 to Kulick's 152 and Johnson's 171. That means Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard will continue on to face the other Johnson, Liz Johnson, that is, right after this. So look at Rockford, Illinois, just like Milwaukee. A lot of other things to do besides just bowl, but we hope you're bowling. We're bowling tonight. You're here inside the Cherry Bowl. Liz Johnson is ready for the semifinal match. She'll be challenged by Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard. Liz Johnson has decided to start the match, therefore she will finish last. Kathy, she wants the pressure on her, or you think she's choosing because of a lane?
I think she's choosing because of the lane.
So she wants to finish on lane 10. Good opening shot, and Kathy, she's going to play a similar line to Carolyn.
Yeah, as I said before, Liz really lined Carolyn up, of course, without Liz knowing.
Exactly.
But Carolyn, a lot of the ladies played further in because the condition hooked more this week. But look at Carolyn's year. I mean, 20 tournaments, 20 match plays, 6 titles, 18 top 10s. I mean, it's almost ridiculous.
It almost is.
It is.
Her lowest finish, I believe, 14th this year.
Yeah.
And like I said before in telecast, you have to go back to 1999 to find a finish lower than 15.
Yeah, I hope I'm that ridiculous next year.
If you are, I won't be seeing you sitting next to me here.
I'm sorry.
Carolyn coming up light, leaving the bucket.
Now, Liz and Carolyn can play the same area, but of course their games are slightly different. Liz can go harder and straighter. Carolyn, a little softer, can come around it just a hair.
Well, she's made it through the opening match here this year. Last year, she was in that opening match, along with Tish Johnson, also both defeated by the eventual champion, Tennille Grijalva. So she's one step closer this year to this major championship.
Well, Liz's strength this week was she got to play her A game once again. She's had a lot of success this year. We've been able to play out a lot more, and Carolyn enjoys that also. Carolyn is an excellent outside player. She always believes that the, angle from coming out, your carry will be a little better. Most of the time it is. Strength changing lines, as I said. She watched where Liz was playing in her weakness. Slow to adjust, but how slow could she have been?
Well, she felt like she should have moved Sunday instead of waiting until Monday to move out, and maybe she wouldn't be third, maybe she'd be first.
Correct.
Of course, with her mental outlook right now and the way she's bowling, I'm sure that she expects to be first every week. I would think.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Leaving a 10-pin now, and she'll change balls to shoot that spare. Electing a ball that hopefully won't hook as much.
Plastic ball, plastic ball. You always know where it's going. It's your safest bet for your spares, especially, most important, your single pins.
We talked a little about Liz Johnson and her back problem. She does have a herniated disc in the lower back, and she's struggling with that right now.
She's very fatigued, very mentally and physically tired. But then again, look at her. She's working overtime 8 times already this year. So she needs a little bit of a rest.
And you asked her exactly that, Kathy, about taking next week off. Here's what she had to tell us.
It's been taking me a little extra time to get loosened up this week. My body's starting to get a little fatigued, and mentally I'm feeling a little tired. I just want to try to finish out this week, take a good week off, go to the chiropractor, get healthy again, and get ready for the last 2 weeks, and hopefully finish out pretty big.
There's that strength playing that A game, and so far finishing out pretty big right here in this tournament.
And her weakness was fast feet. Her fast feet, she felt, was caused because of her fatigue. And she felt she was getting a little tired and her back was getting a little tight. Her feet would get fast to compensate.
And she told us that's when she starts to pop up at the line, and I think all players pretty much are that way. If you get a little too fast, a lot of times she'll pop up at the line, not stay down solid.
No doubt about it.
So Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard now trailing by 21 pins in the third frame.
Come on.
And another 10-pin. A little bit of frustration coming out of her.
Really nice shot off her hand, nice and smooth, stays down at the line. Really nice extension. Great shot in the pocket. That was maybe a partial flat 10. Not totally flat, but like I said, carry was very tough this week.
Covers that spare, and that's one of the reasons, as you just mentioned, that Carolyn chose to move out, because she felt her carry was so bad from in, and what she's doing by moving out is creating a better angle into the pocket.
Right, absolutely. Straighter, down and in for some players that can't get a lot on the ball, such as a Michelle Feldman, have to play a straighter line because it's safer for them to get to the pocket, number one. And number two, their carry statistically should be greater. Angle of entry, extremely important.
16 and 8 in match play. I know there were a lot of low games this week, and yet Carolyn Dorin Ballard's lowest game was 181. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Well, Carolyn had the #1 TV average, 224.25. Liz was third with 213.25.
That being on this TV pair, Liz Johnson, right now looking to up that average. She has the first 3 strikes, and because she has the potential, as you see there, to shoot a 300, we'll stay with you and not go away to break to see if she can get that $50,000 bonus once again from Travelodge. Liz, the player who earned it this year, just a few weeks ago in Davie, Florida, she said that really changed her life and her outlook on tour because she now had a little bit more financial freedom.
And it happened during such a stressful, sorrow-filled week. I think it really meant more to her to do it, to bring a little joy to the crowd that was there. We spoke about that at that time. But sure, it loosened her arm swing the next week. She said, I can fix up my house. She's going to be a godmother to her little nephew, Noah. She's got to spoil him.
We saw 15 career 300s, and that would be strike number 5. So Carolyn Dorin Ballard has her work cut out for her here.
These two ladies throw a lot of strikes, though. They wouldn't be here if they didn't.
Carolyn told us that the lanes basically came to her, so to speak, once she made that move and adjustment on playing the right line.
Come on. Yeah.
In 6th place, our scorekeeper again tonight, just missing the show, Leanne Barrett. And 9th place, Wendy Macpherson. You've seen her all the time.
Yeah, Kathy, you're in 11th, another strong finish. And Kim Adler is still trying to win this season to extend her consecutive win years to 9. So far, has been unsuccessful. There's a look at those strikes. Pretty nice looking 5 strikes for Liz Johnson. Carolyn Dorin Ballard now on a double. Not making the turn there, leaving a 2-pin.
Yeah, you heard her ask for a little hook. She didn't quite get it.
Carolyn hoping to be successful this week. She told us last night, Kathy, that despite the year she's having, she didn't feel she has bowler or player of the year wrapped up yet at this point in time.
Well, if we know the history of Carolyn trying to get bowler of the year, there's always somebody on her tail that is just on fire as she is. And there are a few girls.
This one is one of them, winning 3 times already this year, making 8 telecasts, looking for title number 4. Carolyn Dorin Ballard, the runner-up for 4 consecutive years to Player of the Year, and hoping to grab it this year. Liz Johnson hoping to grab strike number 6.
Well, and we know for a fact that Carolyn's the one to shoot the 300 against. Liz throws a powerful ball for a straight player, just crushes the pins. No doubt about it.
And you're exactly right, Kathy. 2 of the 300s on television have been against Carolyn Dorin Ballard.
Yeah.
One by Liz Johnson, one by Michelle Feldman. Meanwhile, Carolyn Dorin Ballard could still shoot 247, not too shabby, but nowhere near enough at this pace.
Liz is tough when she's playing the part of the lane that she's best at. She's extremely tough.
Uh-oh, and that one was not what she wanted.
She got that out a little bit too far to the right. Didn't hook back quick enough. She got lucky. She almost had the 2-4-8-10. So the 210 is a lot more spareable, easier to spare than the 2-4-8-10.
So Liz Johnson is out in front in the Hammer Players Championship semifinal match. We'll be back in just a moment. Liz Johnson now up in the 8th frame. While we were away, Carolyn Dorin Ballard made 2 shots, a strike and then a 10-pin, which she missed. So Liz Johnson now in the lead by 51 pins. Carolyn hooked by that 10-pin just like we saw Kelly Kulick do in that first match. About a 3-10 split here for Liz Johnson. That's back-to-back splits, light and then high.
I think she compensated for the 210.
This after 6 straight strikes, 2 splits, and is not able to convert. The Bowler's Journal All-America team has been announced. Tish Johnson, Wendy Macpherson, Carolyn Dorin Ballard, you're seeing tonight, Cara Honeychurch, and of course Michelle Feldman. You'll see later. You saw Tish Johnson earlier. There's the plaques that they will be awarded sometime during this evening's telecast. They'll be handing them out just after the show for the ladies. And Liz Johnson right back on track in the 9th frame. That All-American team, it's very impressive. It goes by wins, television shows, basically just their entire record, but it doesn't really follow the calendar year. So that's why you might be confused about sometimes those who are named, because it goes mid-season to mid-season.
Very prestigious honor.
So Carolyn Dorin Ballard now up in the 9th. Best she could shoot 215. Liz Johnson can still shoot 245. She needs to strike out here to force Liz Johnson to mark. And that won't do it.
Now that was a little odd because she's been pretty clean on that lane. And it looked like a great shot. Great extension, but jumped right at the end. Big 4. A little surprised at that.
It did look good. Maybe a little bit softer with the ball speed or something, but it did look like a good shot. She took 2 of those pins, and Carolyn will step up in the 10th, but really it's a little bit late for her as she trails by 52 pins. At this point, the best she could shoot is 193, but still a phenomenal year, breaking another record, 16 telecasts in a season, and I think that I never saw that day would come. I never thought that either. Never thought that day would come, actually. So Liz Johnson survives that match. When we return, we'll recap tonight's action, and still to come, the final match. The 2001 Women's U.S. Open Bowling Championship, presented and hosted by Don Laughlin's Riverside Resort Hotel and Casino in Laughlin, Nevada, will begin with Pro-Ams November 30th and December 1st. U.S. Open competition begins December 2nd and concludes with a live broadcast on ESPN Sunday, December 9th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. That's immediately following the Men's U.S. Open final. $300,000 will be up for grabs. For tournament entry info, contact the PWBA at 815-332-5756 or visit pwba.com. And if you want to enter that Pro-Am, call Riverside 800-227-3849, or you can visit them at riversideresort.com. So far tonight in match 1, Carolyn Dorin Ballard had control all the way, defeating Kulick and Johnson 233 to 152 and 171. In match 2, Liz Johnson started with the first 6 strikes to oust Dorin Ballard 244 to 183. Coming up next, Liz Johnson will try to stop Michelle Feldman's bid for back-to-back victories and her first major title. There's a trophy that these players will be fighting for tonight. In a nice setting in the background there, it's the Hammer Players Championship. Nothing hits like a hammer. Michelle Feldman, top seed once again for the 2nd straight week. Won the event last week, and looking to win again this week. 9 count going Brooklyn, and Kathy, we're told that she's very, very nervous out there because it's a major event.
She told me yesterday, too, I'm very nervous. I think this is the most nervous I've ever been. And we all know she's led tournaments before. But she said, I've never made a TV show in a major event. And your nerves are a little different. Because then you start thinking about it.
Yeah, it's something totally different. I mean, the majors, obviously, if you look back in the history of this event, some of the greatest bowlers ever. And everyone wants to win the major events. Liz Johnson is familiar with winning majors. She has won a U.S. Open title back in 1996. But not the way she wanted to start this tournament after all those strikes last game, but a couple of splits in the middle of the match.
Now Carolyn played out also, so she may be experiencing a little breakdown because they were on the same part of the lane. Ball hooked just a little too quick. That's the result, but she'll get the 2 pins. Looking at our other finishers, number 17, Lisa Bishop, our past champion here in 1999, and Marianne DeRupo in 19th, our champion here in 1997.
Finishing up in 21st, the 99 Rookie of the Year, Tiffany Stanbro, and in 22nd, Jeanette Piezinski. Boy, has she come out here and done well. 6 straight cuts for that lady.
She sure has. She's bowled very, very well.
And there is another 710. It looks like no one was immune to the 710s this week.
They were everywhere for everyone. Didn't matter what angle you played, you left one. Liz doesn't look like she'd leave one because of her power, just like Michelle Feldman. But she did.
But it looked for a minute another pin was going to stand back up.
Well, the smart move again, just to take the wood.
We talked about Michelle winning last week, and that was at the Three Rivers Open. There's a flashback to that event. She stepped up in the 10th frame, trying to shut out Tammy Turner. That was live, and a big break there for Michelle Feldman. She did win that event last week. Tammy was unable to strike in the 10th. Michelle won at 206 to 191. 222 average this week, and we've talked so much about her struggling with the sport condition. Much of it, in my opinion, was her unwillingness to accept it and realize that she could play on it. I mean, once she got over that and just said, hey, I'm going to make the changes I need to make, she credited Alita Sill with helping her try to stay behind the ball a little bit more.
Oh, for sure. Michelle realized she needs to roll the ball off her hand more to allow the ball to read the lane and not so much with her power to push it or chuck it out onto the lane, as we should say. So everyone needs to make their own adjustments. She just needed to know what her adjustments were and to make them.
Right back on target for Liz Johnson. Liz was also a Rookie of the Year out here back in 1996. 98 Robbie Award recipient, and here's what she's doing in 2001. 18 tournaments and has made 16 of the match play finals.
As we said before, very unbelievable that she's achieved that much this year. She had absolutely no idea or really intention to whack them, as we should say, the way she has been.
Because she struggled with the back injury and herniated disc and unsure of what she'd be able to do out here, but has gotten into a regular stretching and workout routine for the ab muscles, which really helps the back, and she's been fortunate enough to make it through most of the events this year.
Yes, she just wanted to be able to compete and complete the tournament. And here she is practically, well, 8 times she's had a chance to win. Maybe that's the key. Don't come out with any goals.
No expectations. You can't...
She said, then you can't get let down.
Exactly. Exactly. Talking about being let down, this lady, Michelle Feldman, as we talked about, a little bit of a struggle sometimes mentally, she wanted to give credit to Leanne Barrett. She said Leanne Barrett helped calm her down on many occasions and helped her focus on what she needed to do, and that was a very important thing for her in being so successful. And Kathy, you talked to Michelle and asked her how she feels here on her first major telecast.
Actually, right now I'm pretty nervous. I don't know what frame I'm going to have when I start, but I would love to win my first major here, especially. Other than that, I'm just pretty nervous, and hopefully I can get through my one game and win.
Doesn't look too nervous right now. Leanne Barrett told us that she was, feeling a little bit nervous, sick to her stomach type thing. But once again, Leanne was right there like a trooper saying, calm down, relax.
And I think that's great. I think it takes a true athlete and a big person to admit when they're nervous, because so many people want to hide it or pretend that they're not when they are. I think that's great. What wasn't so great was this shot. Unfortunately, got a little wide, or she might have even gotten it into the oil. Leaves the 2-4-8-10. It is spareable.
Especially for someone like a Michelle Feldman, who can throw hard and hook it, but she takes 3 of them. Got the wood, very important since she was on a strike. 3 means 6. Liz Johnson now stepping up in the 5th frame. She trails in this match.
She too coming up a little light. She obviously adjusted from the split. She probably moved her feet a little left, projected the ball a little bit more right. There you can see she almost left the 2-8. The 2-pin gets kicked, and it's an easy single pin square.
So Liz Johnson trailing by 27 pins now as she gets ready to step up in the 6th frame. Only 1 strike in the first 5 frames. One last match, we saw her with the first 6 strikes. Transition again, and that's been the key on our shows. But we took a look at her overall averages for the whole year. And while there's been a couple of low-scoring events, we have averaged over 200 on the TV show for the entire year.
Yeah, and regardless of how slow the games start out, it always comes down to the last frame. Now it appears to me Liz switched balls.
There's a big strike for Liz Johnson. We'll break for a moment, but stay with us for the conclusion of this match and the naming of another major champion. Liz Johnson now up In the 7th frame, she trails by just 7 pins because she's working on a strike.
As I said before, Liz switched balls. She's going to stay in the same area but go to a weaker ball, maybe with a little more shine to get it down the lane longer. That way she can be a little more aggressive and not worry about it hooking so early.
While we were gone, Michelle Feldman made 2 shots of strike and a 4-pin that was a light ripper. I mean, pins flying everywhere. 4-pin didn't fall. She spared it. That leaving Liz Johnson trailing by just 7 pins. And that time,
Had a little break there.
big break.
2-8-10. Strong release, extremely solid at the line. Went a little too far. 2-8-10, something comes over. I don't know what pin that was. Knocked the 10 off. Left her with a easier spare.
Oh, and not exactly the way you planned to shoot it.
She lined up correctly, but she must be hitting some conditioner in the center of the lane. Barely knocks them over.
Top seed position. We mentioned it last week. It's the place to be. 13 titles this year from that spot, which is very unusual. It's typically around 50% as the years go through because top seed coming on doesn't have a game on the lanes, and sometimes it's not really that big of an advantage to be the top seed. But this year, it appears to be. Lanes undergoing a little more transition. The players come off their semifinal match and go, whoops, where am I bowling?
And it depends who bowled before you, if they used surface or shine, depending on how the transition's going to break down. So number 1's where I need to be. I have 3 more chances.
There you go.
I'm ready. She grabbed a handful there, which is easy for her to do. She's been working on that. Not being so grabby.
Exactly. It grab turn a little too much.
Yes.
It's one of the things she's been keen on, trying to just stay a little bit more behind, get a little more roll, as you mentioned earlier, Kathy.
And roll is different from grab.
Right. Michelle covers that spare, and we've talked about it before. I know these ladies love bowling with the wheelchair bowlers. We have a Rollers and Pro Bowlers event coming up. That'll be Monday, November 12th through Thursday, November 15th. That's at Brunswick Mesa Lanes in Mesa, Arizona. And if you need information on that, you can contact that center at 480-834-0588. It's a wonderful time. 3-person team, ladies, wheelchair bowler, and a senior PBA member. Liz Johnson with a big strike in the 9th frame. Best she could shoot would be 205. If she strikes out in the 10th, she would be able to force Michelle Feldman to double in the 10th.
Or we could have a tie.
We could. If she doesn't carry all these pins and shoots a 204, Michelle Feldman could strike spare for 204. Right now, though, Liz trailing by 9 pins.
Huge double for Liz Johnson. And on that note, let me say hi to Conrad and Karen, her mom and dad, up in New York. Big supporters of Liz.
No nerve showing for this lady right here, being Liz Johnson. Michelle Feldman, though, maybe a sign of nerves, but closing her eyes, saying, hey, I know it's going to be in my hands. Let me just think about my shot, not what Liz does. And that's a hard thing to do.
And on Michelle's point, that's a smart thing to do. Keep your eyes closed. Don't watch. Because you can tell. No, you can tell by the sound of the crowd whether it was good or not. And if they get a lucky break, you don't necessarily have to see it. Liz is an excellent pressure bowler. She's proven it over and over again.
Well, this is a big fill ball for Liz Johnson. She needs this strike to force that double out of Michelle Feldman. Wow, and She got it for a 2:05. What a big finish now. Michelle Feldman, it was her choice. She chose to start this match so she could finish on lane 10, and she has struck every time on lane 10. So as she steps up in the 10th, she'll need 2 more strikes on lane 10. Has not missed on this lane. All of her errant shots have been on lane 9.
You can see she's taking an extra moment. That's the maturity. Definitely the maturity coming out in Michelle. Years ago, she would have already been up there.
Number 1.
Wow.
She can't throw it any better than that.
No way. Absolutely awesome.
Okay, and she's trying not to get overrun with emotion right now.
Simple, strong, beautiful game. Makes it look so easy. Rips the cover off it. 10 in the pit, absolutely no doubt about it, and she knew it. She wanted that.
That's 5 strikes on this lane.
She wants this one more, though.
Will it hook? And it does not hook enough. Liz Johnson, all she can do is look down and say, is it true? Did I just win?
Michelle just got a little overly aggressive, but trusted it, wanted to make sure she got it right. That was the smart move. Unfortunately, it didn't hook back.
So Liz Johnson has just won her 4th title of the year. We'll be back with more. Don't go away. There's your champion of the Hammer Players Championship. Final score 205 to 202, and that's Liz Johnson. Coming in with the trophy, John Wonders, the president of Fab-Ball, Missouri.
Hi. Liz, congratulations.
Thanks, John.
Especially in that clutch shooting down the stretch in that
Thank
final
you.
match. That was
Thanks a
beautiful.
lot.
On behalf of all the Fab-Ball employees all over the world, we'd like to present you with this trophy, emblematic of your championship, and hope you win many more. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Holding that trophy will be the trick, but here comes the treat. It's a check, and Terry Brenneman, president of Fab-Ball, Baltimore.
Liz, again, congratulations on a truly great come-from-behind clutch performance. It's our pleasure at Hammer to present you with this $13,000 check.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to just thank Fab-Ball, Terry Brenneman, and his staff. I'd like to thank Cherry Bowl, John Anderson, his staff here, all the fans, my caddy, Bill, thank you so much. I'd like to thank Travelodge, the Women's International Bowling Congress for all your support. And I'd also just like to thank my family and friends back home who couldn't be here tonight. Thanks, everybody.
Congratulations again to Liz Johnson. She breaks it into double digits with career title number 10 and her 2nd major. Tune in next Monday night as Kim Adler attempts to defend her Las Cruces, New Mexico Open title and record a win number 9 straight years. All the action starts at 8 p.m. Eastern from Sun Lanes. For Kathy, Dorin, Lizzie, I'm Jan Schmidt, asking you to keep an extra eye open for the trick-or-treaters. And kids, have fun, but please be careful. Good night and God bless. This is presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.